Namaste, everyone. I'm going to give you all a oracle card reading. And this oracle card reading is going to be for men and how men can better connect with women. This is a question I have that I would like to give you an oracle card reading for. How can men better connect with women? So I call upon Archangel Michael. I call upon Archangel Gabriel. I call upon Archangel Metatron, Archangel Uriel. Call upon Archangel Shamuel, Sandalphon. Call upon Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, White Buffalo Woman. Call upon my higher self, my spirit guides, archangels, earth angels, beings of the highest vibration of love and light who are here to help me, to guide me, as well as bring victory into my life. My intention is clear. My intention is clear. I desire to bring inspiration, motivation, empowerment, and guidance to all those who are watching this video at this time. May all messages be reassuring, helpful, and raise the vibration of all those who will listen to this. Okay, so I'm connecting with a higher vibration. I raise my vibration. I raise my vibration. I raise my vibration. I raise my vibration. My mind is clear. My body is healed. My spirit is activated. I raise my vibration. How can men better support women? Or how can men better connect with women? How can men better connect with women for more harmony and fulfillment between man and woman's connection? How can men better connect, support women? I'm going to pull one more card, so I have 4 cards. How can men better connect with women, support women? So we have the High Priestess. Wow. You have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching. So how men can better connect with women, right? I'm feeling in this card to not be intimidated, right? You look at this woman and look at her, like she's fantastic, she's outstanding. I feel that many men can be quite intimidated, can be quite overwhelmed by this High Priestess, but also at the same time knowing that this is the type of woman that's going to give a man the opportunity to experience his nobility and to experience his excellence as a man. And as men, the ego is all about the challenge. That's the thing about the ego. It's like, I want the challenge, right? And the High Priestess is really the woman that can bring a man's ego into a greater sense of accomplishment, right? That's beyond just the lower chakras, because the ego for a lot of men can be about just having a sense of accomplishment over the lower chakras, which is money, sex, power, food, water. Money, sex, power, food, water, right? And we know that men are basically sort of, they the rulers, right, of money, sex, power, money, sex, power. And that's why in the patriarchal age for us women, that's all we heard all day, right? From the Romans, that's all we heard all day is money, sex, power, money, sex, power, money, sex, power, money, sex, power. And as in America, we very much have this sort of culture. I don't know how we view in the other countries, but we do have this kind of get rich kind of, this kind of this culture of just get rich quick, money, sex, power, right? So the High Priestess is like, she's not just about money, sex, power. She's about the accomplishment of a man's soul and the accomplishment of a man's excellence in the way that he expresses himself, and really bringing a man to his spirituality, right? And again, that doesn't have to be something that's publicly known. That doesn't have to be something that you're sharing with the world as a man, or you're preaching or teaching. It doesn't have to be anything that is seen to anybody. It can be totally in the privacy of just you starting to feel you're connected with your inner child, you're finding harmony within your childhood, your family, and you're starting to feel wise with your life, right? That's kind of like a man, right? When he starts to feel wise with his life, he starts to feel excellent in his relationship with self and his relationship with others, right? It starts to become a godfather. We talk about the godfather, right? That sort of godfather is basically a man who is he knows how to manifest, protect, right? And he knows how to create a safe environment, right? Knows how to build a lineage that is not just excellent in power, sex, money, but also excellent in their mind and their emotions, right? They feel good about themselves. They have a positive self-image, right? They have, balanced personalities, right? They have a constructive persona, right? So the high priestess is like how to better support and connect with a woman is to see her as this. She's a woman that, she's your muse, right? She's a woman that is the beloved, right? She is the beloved. All women are the beloved, right? And if your woman is not this, or, if you are a woman watching this, right, is building yourself up to be this, right? Through your practice, through your creativity, through your artistry, through your prosperity, through your dedication, right? So we'll see the next card, peace. There's no need to worry as everything is working out beautifully. So peace, quiet time, intimacy, sharing, caring, listening, right? I feel how men can better connect with women is knowing that as women, we just want to be supported in being this, right? And that's why a lot of us women go through this pain and the trauma and the low self-worth, because we have men who don't treat us like this, who don't want us to be this, who don't even want to discover this within us as a woman, right? They don't even attempt to understand this, right? Not from a sort of intellectualizing or analyzing. It's more so just through a feeling it, right? To feel it with us, right? Because again, men and women have their total different sort of nervous systems. They're completely different. But us as women, right, this is what we are meant to become. This is the nervous system we're meant to hold. And men, they're different. They're not meant to, obviously, they're not meant to hold this nervous system, right? So it's like women seeing that we have a crown, right? And men seeing that, yes, your woman, she should be wearing a crown. If she's not wearing a crown, right? We want her to wear a crown because she's the one that brings peace, right? She's the one that brings peace. When she is good, like they say, it's good, it's the peace, right? She has these deep emotions. She has these deep feelings, right? You see this ocean behind her, with these dolphins. She has these deep feelings. She's like the moon, right? She's the beloved. She has this great love. She has this depth of self. She's very magnetic. She's captivating. She's rhythmic. She just has so much to her, right? And that's what makes her a woman, is that there is much to her. She can't be figured out in a day. Right? It's just so many layers. If you just keep going deeper, there's so many layers. So I feel like what the peace card is saying that for men is recognizing that there's so many layers to a woman. And for women, it is really finding that balance within our emotions, right? Finding that balance within our emotions. Having that peace, that groundedness as a woman, right? Because the high priestess is a grounded energy. She's very grounded. She's very, very grounded. She feels very, very secure in who she is as a woman. She feels very comfortable in her body. She feels very, very, she feels very neutral in her mind. She feels very beautiful in her spirit. And that's what gives a woman peace, right? That's what puts in the, her aura becomes like the great full moon, right? Like a great harvest, and men are just like, oh, I'm going to go home to the full moon that is my woman, right? And so when I see the full moon, and like you as a woman visualizing yourself as the full moon, right? You are the full moon. Your aura is a full moon, right? Your aura is the full moon. See it as like a blue full moon. And the moon represents balance to the oceans. We know that our moon basically has a pool on the oceans, the seven seas, right? And think of it like the seven seas can also represent the number seven, which is our spirituality. Our spirituality of a woman is connected to the number seven, and the number seven has to do with the seven dimensions, right, of Earth, but also has to do with the expression of spirituality, right? So, in our moon magic, right, in our moon magic, where we're healing, we're alchemizing, we're sharing, we're being creative, we're in a community with other women, we're caring for our inner child, right? We're just feeling very lovely, very, very grounded in just who we are as a woman, understanding that our nervous system as a woman is not meant to be like a man. We're not meant to be in the sex, money, power struggle, right? That's not our territory, right? We're in it because we need to care for that, right? But we're not meant to be there. That's kind of the territory of men, right? Next, sex, money, power, sex, money, power. What really is satisfying for us is working on the moon magic, working on how we as women can find that peace within ourselves, to be peaceful, right? To be peaceful. And the only way as us as women is when we're peaceful, right, is when we have this creative discovery, right? We're not, even as how you can see housewives that you would think they'd be most peaceful, but they're not. They're not. They're restless, or they're frustrated, or they feel bored, or they don't know who they are. They don't really know what they want. Some of them seem confused. And we would think, oh, they have all the time in the world to be peaceful. Peace comes from creative discovery. And either you're a working mother or stay-at-home mom, you're not a mother, right? Whatever it is, it comes through creative discovery. And creative discovery is a study. So you can be a housewife and never study that at all, right? It's a creative discovery you have with you, the full moon, and your inner child, right? And I feel like men can better can connect and support women is to understand that everything that I'm speaking can benefit men, because this is as a woman sharing the depths of woman, and how we find that peace within ourselves is through creative discovery. And that's a study. That's a practice we have where we are with our inner child and we're with the full moon, right? And it's our poetic justice, and peace is a poetic justice, right? It's poetic justice as there's great trauma and there's deep feelings and there's uncertainty or there's great doubt, and how we bring justice or fairness or balances is to turn it into art, turn it into something that's beautiful, right? That's liberating and that's expressive, right? That's expressive. So the high priestess is a focused woman, right? And as women, when we are focused, we know we don't have time for men who want to play games, who don't know what they want and pretend they know what they want, right? Men who, we know, right, as women, right? When we have this level of concentration and when we start to feel really good about ourselves and start to feel really worthy and deserving of prosperity and reciprocity and, of a higher vibrational experience, we desire a partner who would like to receive that, like to receive us as we are, right? In our self-worth, in our prosperity, and the things we deserve, right? And how a man can better connect with a woman, right, of such, right, is to create an environment for her, create an altar for her, create a safe place. Like as a man, like already visualize that she's there, right? And for men who are not ready, meaning you don't feel content in your ego, because again, you're not going to be able to attract a high priestess if you're restless in your ego, because your ego is kind of angry or frustrated because your ego wants this, that, and the other, the car, the sexy woman, and that's fine. Do you? That's what I say. Do you? But the high priestess it's a different experience. It's not the hot model, the car. It's different. It's for a different type of man, and if you don't feel like you're like that, then you can keep it moving, right? You don't need to watch this, right? Because I'm talking for the high priestess women who we're about creative discovery, and we're about creating peace. Like we want to bring justice, fairness to the family, the lineage, and we want to kind of explore deeper feelings, right? A deeper life experience. One that is about, with the high priestess, it's about, having a vision, right? Having having this closeness with the earth, right? This intimacy with the earth that makes us feel whole and united, right? It's about the beloved, and not every man wants to connect with the beloved, because when you have a restless ego because your childhood, you basically, they cut you down as a man, right? Either your mommy did or your grandma or whatever, your caretakers as a little boy cut you down, stripped you of your man, right? Your inner man, right? A lot of men restless until they start to awaken their their kundalini, their sexuality, and begin to move that into other areas, right? Besides money, sex, power, right? And then we have undenying love. The love you have shared is eternal regardless of the situation. So you see this, right? So it's better connecting with women. Again, look at that. She is abundant, right? We always think men are the abundant. They're the rich, the gold mine and all these things, right? But really, understanding that a woman has so much to offer, right? She has much to offer. And a lot of men, they don't really look at this. Like, they don't look at women like that. They're like, no, well, they know, like, I have much to offer her. Like, I'm the man. Like, I'm the man. I'm like, well, I'm the man, right? And let the man be the man, and how he can better get that sort of, like her, right? I want you to give me you, deeper you. I don't want this shallow crap, I want something, something more from you, right? Because men, they want more from a woman, right? They want to see her and become the beloved, He wants to just sit back and let her do her little dance and just be like, woo, he wants that, right? And undenying love is, I feel, again, it looks like she's about to open her heart. Like, literally, she looks like she's about to go, like, hello. She's like, hello, right? Hello. I feel he can better connect with her is, like, caring for that aspect of her, the aspect of woman that is, like, ferocious and, like, climbing up him like he's a tree, and, like, kind of, very, very, passionate, but also very, very, very kind of ecstatic and exotic, right? Kind of, there's this women were meant to be exotic, right? Either we're exotic in our ethnicity or not. We're meant to be exotic, right? Because women, we are the fire, we're the passion, right? Men they're more like the earth and the air. We're the water, and we're the water, we're the fire, we're also the ethers, right? So we got more to us, right? And men are like the earth and the air, right? So we're the things that turn things up. If whatever's turning a relationship is always led by the woman, we're the ones that turn things up. We're like, we turn up the fire, we turn it up and we turn it down. We're the ones that bring up the emotions within ourselves and then the partnership, and men are like a tree, right? And they're airy too. They have this air where, they think about, and that kind of, but we're really ultimately as women, we have this sort of, fire, and we want to be that. But it's a matter of fact, most of us women don't feel comfortable being this. Because let's be honest, a lot of us women have experienced men who, when we were this, they try to tear it down. And it's not them, it's a program. It's not men. Men don't, it's not natural for a man to want to turn down a woman or, break her down or destroy her. This kind of, it's not natural, it's a program. Men have been programmed to view women as basically sex, and that's it. So when a high priestess is sexually divine, he's like, what the hell is that? Like, I don't know what to do with that, right? What does that mean? Like, men have been programmed to view women as there's a shame attached to it, like, like women of shame, like women of shame, like, women are shame, they have shame, right? So when we express our sexuality, let's say we're a woman, we have, doing this, so what do you call it, have a bunch of men that we're with, we're looked at like, oh my God, you are, slut. But when men do that, we know men can be, going to one girl, next girl, all the girls, and he's looked at, oh, you go, right? And that's the thing, why we don't entirely accept this high priestess, because there's a program within men and within society that women are just sex, right? And when we start to be this, spiritually activated, where we're like spiritually in this orgasmic flow within ourselves without having intercourse, just with our life energy, right? Our life energy is just this ecstatic, kind of exotic sort of realm of like exploration and creative discovery. Like we're just taking in the universe and like feeling like kind of orgasmic with it. The programs of men is like, I don't know how to like connect with that, right? I don't know how to connect with that, right? And the sort of the nervous system of man has been programmed to only connect with women through this sort of animal approach, like the animal, just the animal, right? And men have the animal, where like that kind of, smell it, I need to get with it. And that's just a part of their nervous system. Like, but when it comes to the shame associated with that, right? We as women don't feel entirely safe, right? So it's really about, again, men, it's about us, not about men, right? It's about us as women feeling safe, right? And when we feel like this, when we're abundant and prosperous and we feel very strong and secure and grounded, right? For who we are, like we're sovereign, we're not so easily like brought down by the unnatural programs that are there to kind of keep us confined or restricted or entrapped within our own fears of the mind, right? Then, right, we have this field within our own self as a woman that demands an environment from a man that is one where we have the space to really grow, right? Look at this, she's growing like a whole orchard, right? We want to grow in our home with a man, an orchard, like this whole garden of like all of these flowers and crystals or whatever it is that really makes us feel exotic and, ecstatic. But we offer peace is what I'm also hearing, right? Peace to ourselves. Again, everything we give to ourselves is what we give to our partner as a woman, right? So if we don't have this peace, we can't be expected to give that, right? It's really, the woman is like the directive sort of driving force. She begins a relationship, she ends a relationship. She's the directive driving force. So whatever it is that she wants, she gets as a woman, because she is the fertile ground, right? She is the muse, she is the beloved, and the beloved is she is the endeared, right? So I'll pull the last card. I'm getting some other things. And we have Sorceress. You are a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. So I feel like men also, what can better help men connect with women and I guess support women is understanding that there is a major transformation happening within all women on this planet, right? And regardless of what kind of black, white, Japanese, Russian, all women are going through this right now on this planet. We are not only taking back our power as women, but we're also, as women, we're really leveling up in the way that we're really, we're starting to see ourselves not only as the high priestess, we're our solar plexus, we're feeling a lot more confident, our self-esteem is coming back as we shed the pounds and pounds of shame associated with being a woman and having a vagina that is beyond just, intercourse and having babies. We're also starting to really become very creatively driven, creatively ambitious, and creatively sound again. Because again, our creativity, as when you think about really creative renaissances, it's been men, right? All these sort of creative renaissances, there's been a lot of mostly men. And there has been women, but those women have been the revolutionary. They have been seen as, in their time, as quite revolutionary, quite sexually evolutionary as well. So they've been seen as very much like this. They've been seen as a powerhouse, right? A lot of these artistic women or scientific women that are now even more so coming forward and sharing their sort of unique perspective, right? So women, we're really being activated, men as well, but the whole female energy on this planet is being activated. And we are being encouraged as women to really have a practice of self, have a practice of wisdom, and have a practice of the body and being, healthy in the body and being holy in the mind and feeling very vital in the spirit. And men knowing that, just me saying that, it can better help them. Okay, yes, there's major changes happening on this planet when it comes to women. And that as men can get very fixed. They're like earth, right? They can get very like a tree, like this is, right? I'm just a tree, right? Or men can, they're more resistant to change, because women, we change constantly all the time, while men, they can get a little bit more so stagnant than us as women, or they can get kind of stubborn or kind of set in their ways more than women, because we are always having the next generation on our head, always having something activated, something awakening within us as women constantly, because we're guided by the moon. And the moon represents sort of the esoterics that are on this planet. And as the moon, right, turns, right, with the full moons and the new moons and all the phases of the moon and all kind of the astrological sort of divination, it really represents us as women, that we are constantly evolving, we're constantly revolving around ourselves, while men, they're not, right, as they're not, you could say, as they're connected to the moon as we all, but the female energy is definitely has a deeper sort of connection and yearning for the moon. Like women, we yearn for the moon, like we yearn for the new moon, we yearn for the full moon, because it does something to us and activates us in a certain way. It feeds us in a certain way that men don't really understand, because again, men are very linear. They can get very, very like set and like, yeah, like that stuff is not real, right? They get very logical. And that's just their design. That's their nervous system. The nervous system is basically plugged in to more rational, logical, mathematical, and sort of analytical realities, right? And those realities happen to not really include like, the new moon and the full moon and the esoterics of it, and the sort of, the sort of poetic harmony about it, or the insight of the clairvoyance, or the sort of psychic enhancement that a woman gets, right? But the sort of the changes that are happening on this planet is really about bringing man and woman to closer together. We're meant to become one. Men and women are not meant to be looking at each other like, can I trust you? Right? Do I trust you? Do I trust you? That's not going to help us to, progress and move forward. It's really about the beloved and the lover, right? Which I always see the woman as the beloved and the lover as the man coming together, right? Coming together and sharing, right, their discoveries, right? Creative discovery isn't just about the moon and the moon magic. It's also about the practicality and you can say the biology of the tree. When you call a man, he's the biology of the tree, right? He's the study of the tree, right? All things that have to do with being practical and, being materialistic and being, connected to your senses, being aware, being safe, being financially secure, and these kinds of things. And that's a wonderful discovery. We need to have more people who have a sense of the material world, that know how to live, right? Because a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't know much, the biology of the tree, right? When it comes to, the material life and how to sustain your life and how to build your life and how to establish yourself, right? In a more sort of grounded, sort of scholarly way, right? So we call about this, the beloved and the lover is about the poet and the scholar coming together, right? And that's coming together both in the hemispheres of the brain and also both with the beloved and the lover, that is the man, the woman and the man coming together, right? And that sort of mixing, right? That mixing. So when a man and a woman have sex and their consciousness become one, right? It's become one. Basically what happens is that sort of dance they have, that sort of spherical intertwining, where you talk intertwining your aura, it's like the coil of energy now becomes like almost like it looks like a DNA coil. What do you call it? It's like a trill. It's like a three. I call it like a 3-part coil or a 3-part DNA, right? And that just simply represents that when a man and a woman, they begin to kind of sort of join. What happens is now the feminine and the masculine begins to turn up within both of the individuals, and that brings more harmony and balance both to the individuals, separate from coming together, right? So what happens is, again, when man meets woman and man emerges with a woman, all of a sudden he just feels more intuitive as a man because his feminine energy within him is being balanced by the woman he's with. And the same thing as a woman, when she joins with a man, her masculine energy begins to be activated and it begins to sort of balance out within her, so she starts to feel just more secure in her body, and therefore she starts to feel more confident in her ability to make things happen in her life. And we don't need to have sex to do that, right? That's just sort of a tantric kind of overview, right? So the solstice, it really just reminds me of the moon and the full moon, right? The full moon, and that we as women, we're led by the moon, and that's just who we are. And that means that we're very cyclical. We go through rhythms and phases, and more so than men, because our growth is seeming expedited. While men, their growth seems very like a tree, like slow and steady, like, a tree grows. Maybe it takes 5 years for a tree to like grow its bow, right? It's kind of reach out, that kind of thing. But us as a women, we're more like a rose, where a rose compared to a tree grows quite quickly and it dies quite quickly, a lot more than a tree, right? A tree, like, it takes many times, sometimes centuries, for a tree to really become this grandfather tree, right? And us for women, we're the rose. We grow with the spring, and then we die with the fall, and then we grow so quickly. Our rose just blooms so quickly and then fades and dies, and then is born again. right? So really understanding that nervous system comparison, like a man's like a tree, like, it takes him, he grows, but he doesn't grow as like exotic or, sort of like a blooming rose. Well, women, we have the nervous system like a rose, where we just like we just want to like, express and show up and show out, right? And to be the beloved. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like this is the best. I'm gonna pull one card from the Atlantis, because Atlantis was mostly like a matriarchal civilization, but there was a huge manhood on Atlantis, huge activation of men, huge, and that activation men had actually birthed the Minoan, the Mycenaean, and then later on the Greek, and then the Roman. So the activations that men did in Atlantis was actually very monumental to what we know today as, the sort of the men. But over the centuries, particularly the last 500 years or so, the sort of programming of men has gotten very, very rough, rigid, and hard, right? And very, very, can be, sort of has brought man a little bit disconnected from women, and that's why men, they don't really know how to connect or discover a woman, right? They don't understand why women are not like men, right? Or why they're so driven by the moon magic, and they're so mysterious and different, right? Because we're not ruled by power, money, sex. That's not our territory. That's not our domain. We're ruled by matters of the heart. We're ruled by philosophy and artistry and creativity. And a woman who's really a high priestess, that's all that she's about, is a community of artistry. And, men, they don't need to be women. We don't want a woman nervous system in a man. That's not what we want. We want a man to be in his power, money, sex. Because somebody got to do it, right? Somebody's got to navigate that territory, right? I feel like that all what we want as a woman in these cards I'm seeing is we want to have peace in ourselves, and that in accepting ourselves as a woman, that he embraces us as we are, right? Because we as women want to accept ourselves, because we have been rejecting ourselves, belittling, shaming ourselves for being this sorceress, for being sexually divine, because we've thought of ourselves as like something's wrong with us as women, right? We've judged ourselves so harshly to the point of we destroy ourselves as women without even knowing it, because of these underlying subconscious programmings. So it's really about, I want to accept myself as a woman, but I want him to embrace me as this. I don't want this to be overwhelming or intimidating. I want this to be something that the challenge, right? The challenging of me and a challenge in the relationship that is going to be met with a man's willingness to be changed by a woman, and to change and make necessary changes, to allow it in, right? And many men will do that, women. Don't be thinking no men will do that, right? The man who's had content with his ego and is no longer, obsessed or addicted or enslaved by his ego will start to balance out in that way, right? So I actually pull two cards from the Atlantis. So one card, and then two card for how men can better connect with women. So we have empathy. Look, we see the lotus. She's the lotus. So heart. We see the heart. Matters of the heart. So empathy, right? How he can better connect with a woman is opening up his heart, right? And there's many kriyas, there's mantras, many sort of activations for a man's heart. So men, again, they're programmed again not to open their heart, to be weary of their emotions, to be detached, to be kind of unsettled with, the heart, right? But how he can better support a woman, because again, it's about two people not changing themselves to kind of, fit each other. Man's trying to fit a woman and a woman's trying to fit in a man, what he wants and what she wants. It's more so about changing the way that you open, right? So it's like changing the way that you open to each other, right? That's what it is. The change that really comes when you connect is the change in opening, right? Because when you're with somebody, you open, right? And that's change. When you open your heart, that's going to bring a lot of change into your life. When you open to somebody, that's change. When you discover somebody, when you're passionate with somebody, that's change right there, because that all of a sudden is just going to make you available to learn from somebody. And that's change. Whenever you're available to learn from somebody, that's change. That'll change you, right? So opening up the heart is like you're opening up you're just opening up in a big way. You can't just open up your penis. That's not going to be enough to really feel like, oh wow, like that sort of ecstatic, exotic, like, oh my gosh. You got to open up big way. And that can be very scary for men, because men, you know, they're different from women. Women, we take sex more seriously, and men take marriage more seriously. That's why women were all about marriage, and men are like sex, you know, because men sex is not as serious to them, you know, because they're more like, you know, animal kind of, and that's just their nervous system. But women were more about like the love of sex, and or not the love of marriage, and the whole beauty of it, because we're driven by beauty, and marriage is beauty, right? While men, they take marriage because marriage to them is like a tree, like it's like a grandfather tree, like it's rooted in the ground, right? It's something very, very to be not taken lightly, right? Or just given, right? Like it's a grandfather tree. Once you root it in, it's rooted for life. It's deep, right? While for us as women, sex is so serious to us is because sex is like, we go deep with sex as women. And when we give our heart to our partner, and men, they can have sex and not give their heart, right? But we as women, either we say we are giving our heart or not, we always give our heart in sex. We always open up our heart in sex. It's just, we cannot not open up our heart, right? Because it's just, sex is, we as women, we must, because that tender spot in us, it just opens like a flower. It's just like, you can't just, when the lotus blooms, you can't be like, no, you're not going to bloom. If it's going to bloom, you can't control it. And our lotus always blooms a lot of times when we do have sex with men, either we're aware of it or not. Now, if we're just gung-ho, like totally numb, you know, then we're not very fruitful. So a lotus won't bloom, because we're not very fertile as a woman when we're very numb and disconnected from ourselves. So the last card we have is meditation. So this is the solar plexus. So the solar plexus, I feel like it's about men like being in, you know, taking charge, right? Making movement, you know, having high self-esteem, right? I feel like that's how you can better connect, is have high self-esteem, right? When you have high self-esteem as a man, you just feel more capable of being a man. When men are weak in their solar plexus, they don't really feel like they don't have enough high self-esteem, right? Just enough, you know, high self-esteem. So I feel like with connecting with a woman is opening up this self-esteem. It can even be through meditation, right? Opening up that self-esteem of like feeling good about being with a woman, and feeling good about being, you know, with the high priestess, and just feeling good as a man with, you know, connecting with his own sort of, his own sense of tranquility and stillness within himself, right? You know, feeling that sort of embetterment in his own inner strength, right, will better help him to connect with the strength of a woman, right? So I feel like this also represents like this manhood, like going through the manhood, the self-esteem, right? That's when a man starts to have high, you know, self-esteem, it means he's going through a manhood. And some men, they don't go through manhood until they're like in their 60s. Some of them, it's like, whoa, it's been like you were a late bloomer, right? Just because a man has money, sex, power does not mean that he's in a manhood. He can still be a boy and still be in his, his boyish ways with his, what do you call what do you call the threesomes? The orgies, right? He could still be in the orgies, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a manhood is where you got this high self-esteem that isn't just ego based. It's also based off of you feel very strong in your care for women and in your care for yourself, right? It's like you're very respectful to yourself and to women, right? It is just this manhood, you feel just more, these type of men, they get this grandfather tree to them. They're not this little like, woo tree, they're like this grandfather tree, this godfather tree, where you could just feel that they have this sort of this rootedness about them, this sort of this gut to them, right? And again, all of us are going through womanhood, manhood, because let's be honest, I feel like we haven't had manhood, womanhood sort of real talk probably for centuries, maybe, right, on this planet, because we've had these major conflicts and major sort of discords with men and women, and our confusion about love and romance and that kind of disharmony and all kinds of sort of distrust and traumas with that. So being in that manhood and that womanhood is kind of what we're redefining on this planet at this time. Like, manhood is about him feeling strong inside and feeling like a godfather tree, right? Feeling very humbled by his ego, right? And feeling very, very activated in his heart, and feeling very, very confident in his contribution to the earth, right? His inner sort of compass and his inner vision, right? And womanhood is really becoming this, developing the moon magic, having moon magic, when it comes to being prosperous and fertile again. And fertile doesn't necessarily mean you're having children. It just means that you as a woman, you have this sort of character or this caliber to you that it really, it has this sovereignty, right? Like Shakti, right? It has a sense of sovereignty where you're not so controlled, manipulated, or distorted, or distracted by the agendas on this planet, right? So, thank you, and may this help you all better connect, either you as a woman better connect to yourself and have a better view of yourself, and man, how you can better sort of discover a woman and what she's going through, and how you can kind of, right, sort of get comfortable and sort of, used to the natural rhythm of a woman, so that you there's something going on and I need to kind of adjust myself, open myself up to this learning that's going to be big in my life, called the woman is the greatest learning experience a man can really have, honestly. So thank you, and namaste.